Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Live with RYE. I'm your host, RYE, and I am so thrilled that you are joining me. I just want to take a moment to thank you for your continued love and support. It means the world to me, and I truly could not do this without you. So thank you. Before we begin, though, I do have a favor to ask of you. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of Live with RYE. And if you're joining us on Facebook, hit that thumbs up button and like us on Facebook, rydethenewsguy.com. Be sure to follow me across social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at rydethenewsguy. I love hearing from you, and let's continue this conversation. So follow me across social media. And finally, you'll see my website scrolling across the bottom of the screen, rydethenewsguy.com. Head over there to rewatch all episodes of Live with RYE and to see all of my other exclusive interviews, news, reviews, and so much more, including the launch of my new production company, RYE Entertainment. You'll also see my Venmo handle scrolling across the bottom of the screen as well. If you are so inclined, please feel free to help support the show Live with RYE and our platform, rydethenewsguy.com. I appreciate your support so much, and it means the world. I am truly grateful. Now, let's get on with today's show. I am super excited for today's special guest. He is he's a Broadway Tony Award-winning producer, and I'm thrilled to talk to him. So please help me welcome my special guest, Tony Award-winning Broadway producer, Ken Davenport. Hey, Ken.
Hi, RYE. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. That's a mouthful. Broadway Tony Award-winning Broadway producer.
It is. I have trouble saying it myself, so I just love people like you saying.
Yes, I love it. Oh, great. So you have something exciting coming up in the next few weeks, the TheaterMakers Summit. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and what we can expect from this year's virtual event?
Yeah, so I started blogging about the theater now over like 11 years ago, and then I started a podcast, and I started doing some workshops and things, all because, frankly, I remember what it was like when I just started out in this business to be like you. To be like, to want to do something, to want to produce, to want to direct, to want to act, and frankly, feeling very alone and like I was the only person and not know how to get it done. I remember like sitting alone at night, staring at my computer, trying to write something or trying to produce something and just saying like, one, I need some help. Are there people that can help me? And two, I feel so alone. I wish I could be surrounded with other people like me that also want to make theater. So when I started to achieve some success, I said to myself that I'm one day going to vow to give it all back, to try to do as much as I can to educate, motivate, and inspire theater makers all over the globe to make more theater. I say often that I'm a big believer that the world is a better place if there's more theater in it. There's only more theater in it if there are more theater makers making it. So we try to provide the tools and resources that are necessary, and again, that inspiration. So that's a very long answer to all those things: blogging, podcasting, workshops, my live stream, all of it, really pinnacle into one thing. The one thing we do every single year that has the biggest impact on the most theater makers around the world, which is we throw a conference, which we believe is the largest theater conference of its kind, that is open to the public. It unites writers, directors, actors, designers, stage managers, everybody who wants to make theater. And I bring in Broadway A-listers to talk, to give keynotes, to give panels, workshops, etc., to talk about how to make theater, about how to achieve the type of success that these speakers have. And again, this is our fourth year. This year we have 100 speakers. I know it's ridiculous. Actually, like, look, I'm a marketing guy, and just the other day I was like, how did we not start talking about this before? There's 100 people speaking at this thing.
Oh my God.
Chris Jackson from Hamilton.
Wow.
George Washington himself will be delivering our keynote. We've got EGOT winner Alan Menken. I've got Jesse Mueller. I've got Pulitzer Prize winners, Tony Award winners, you name it. They're all going to appear on this conference November 14th and 15th, all talking about the theme, which is how to make theater in the new world. like, look, theater is in a crisis. There's a lot of things affecting us right now. We got to figure a lot of out.
Yes.
And we're going to try to do it that weekend so that everyone who comes, their careers can only improve. They can get to where they want to be with their goals, hopefully by listening to some of those folks. So that's what it's about. That's
super exciting. I'm super excited for it. I hope to be able to attend. And I can't believe you have 100 speakers. I mean, that is crazy. Incredible. It's crazy, but it's also so incredibly cool. It just shows the power that you have and the power that this TheaterMakers Summit has. So what are some new and exciting things that you are able to achieve this year with the summit being virtual that you couldn't maybe do in the past when it was in person?
So it's a great question, because I will honestly tell you, last May, we throw this conference every November. Okay. And last May, we were like, okay, which hotel should we choose to throw the conference? It should be the Hilton or the Sheraton. And we were like, I think it was my assistant, because I was like, we got to do it in person, because that's what the theater's about. The theater's about gathering in person. How can we not do it in person? And my assistant was like, boss, I think you're crazy to think you're going to be able to pull this off. So, and I, like a 2-year-old, I have a 2-year-old, so I speak to this. Like a 2-year-old, I was like, well, then no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. And that was very short-sighted of me. And actually, I have an incredible staff, an incredible team, and they said, let's just talk about this. Yes, emotionally, it may feel right now that it's not great that we can't gather in person for this event. But let's look at the pros. 1, people from all over the world will be able to attend. Yes. So theater makers from all over. We always get people from Australia and South Africa and London and Germany. But now we can go even further, right? And really unite theater makers at a time when they need to be united. 2, people are going to save a ton of money, which makes it available and accessible to more people, right? Yeah. Because no longer the expense of travel and hotels in New York City and any of that crap, that is no longer a burden, right? So it removes that. And then 3rd, one of the reasons we have 100 speakers and unbelievable speakers is because we were able to pull them wherever they are in the world. Yeah. And also they're not really doing much right now.
Exactly.
So we benefit from that. But we I have not only Charlotte St. Martin and Tom Schumacher, who run the Broadway League, speaking. I have the head of the Educational Theater Association speaking, so all about how high school theater is coming back. We have the executive director from the Community Theater Association of America speaking about how community theaters are coming back. So every aspect of the theater we're dealing with. We have producers from Mexico, producers from Korea, all coming together for this one event to talk about how we can make more theater and better theater in this new world.
Wow, that's super exciting. And just that guest list alone of who you mentioned, I mean, wow, it truly is for everyone far and wide. And it's exciting to also hear producers from other countries will be there too. So,
yeah, that was something I was very passionate about. And because I often feel we forget how far the reaches of Broadway, how far it reaches. Yeah. And I wanted to make sure that these people who are our peers, who are struggling like we are with the same issues, right? Yeah. The top, we surveyed my followers about what they were most interested in: streaming theater, safety when we come back, and equality. And it doesn't matter if you're in Mexico or Korea or London, you're dealing with the same 3 top issues right now. Yes. Same issues. And hopefully, and I know it will happen, like these speakers are going to inspire not only each other, but all of the theater makers who come to take action to try to improve these things.
Yeah. Well, that's super inspiring. And you actually lead me into my next question, which is, they mentioned about theater coming back. I'd love to know, what are your predictions for the future of Broadway? Do you see it returning later in 2021 like they are currently saying? And what do you think the road to recovery for Broadway will look like?
Well, I've been blogging about this extensively, and I did a couple of videos about it as well. I am predicting that Broadway, let's just say this: Broadway will come back. Broadway will get back to where it was before and beyond. we're just like the stock market. If we've had a major crash, obviously, but we will get back and we will climb up. Do not worry about that. Mm-hmm. We have survived for thousands of years. The theater has survived, right? It's gone through everything you can imagine. People thought the radio would kill it, the television would kill it, the internet would kill it. The mm-hmm. theater has been thriving amidst all that. So look, this is a very difficult time. We will come back. I am not anticipating that Broadway returns until the fall of 2021, and maybe even a little bit later, like November, mostly because I think we're going to wait until a vaccine is effective and out there so that people can come to the theater in the way that they want to come to the theater. Yeah. Broadway, that doesn't mean theater around the world won't be back. I mean, theater in Korea got back up and running. I know the Far East is getting back up and running. It will be back at many areas across this country before New York City, just because we're so densely populated. Our theaters are this big. The lines to the bathroom. I mean, how do you socially distance that?
Yeah, no, exactly.
So it's going to take a little bit when it comes back. But I believe the longer we go, the stronger we come back and the faster we come back. Because we'll be able to have watched everyone else come back. Mm-hmm. And by then, the rest of the country, the economy, things will really start to be coming back. Tourism will hopefully be coming back, and we'll be ready. And we'll see it's going to take a bit, but it's going to be faster than people think to get back to where we were.
Well, that's really inspiring to hear, and that it makes me even feel good to hear too, because I wasn't sure. I thought maybe we would have some issues when we come back with, starting to get back on our feet. But also I know everyone is thirsty and hungry for art right now. And I feel like even if a few shows just came back, I feel like that would even just be a draw. People are so hungry, especially in the city, for live performance that I think they would really see anything at this point, if it can.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you've got a show, open it now. I would almost guarantee a good review. Yeah. Like almost, because people are going to be drooling for it. And I do look, my whole prediction about a swifter recovery is based on this. That first night that shows are back, just imagine what it's going to feel like to be in that audience. Just imagine when that curtain goes up. And I think about Rob McClure from Mrs. Doubtfire spoke about this on my live stream. About just imagine he's the first person on stage in Mrs. Doubtfire. That show comes back. He's on that ovation is going to be 30 minutes long. I mean, it's going to be electric. And the number one thing that sells tickets for Broadway shows and just about anything else actually is word of mouth. And the word of mouth from those first shows it's going to be off the charts, and it's going to inspire other people to go see it. And that's what's going to happen.
It's going to be electric. And it's funny, I've even thought to myself, what show will I return to, that first night that Broadway's back, and that feeling that, I probably won't be able to get out of my seat at the end because I'll probably just be so overcome with emotion.
Bawling. People are going to be crying. The actors are going to be crying. Can you imagine those actors?
I know.
It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous. Historic. It is. So I actually told some producing friends of mine, you should put your tickets on sale, even if you don't know exactly when it is. Mm-hmm. Buy a ticket to the first show back. They'd sell it out like that.
For sure. Do you see, you mentioned possibly late November, do you see Broadway coming back in sort of a rolling capacity? I know that's been talked about, having a show open, 2 or 3 shows open here, 2 or 3 shows open there. Or do you think by November, that's hopefully when the current shows that are running and coming back will all be open?
I think they'll roll. I think we're going to wade into this. We're going to step in, toe by toe, because it's just the safest way to do it. And the theater is a very interesting industry in that it's very competitive.
Yes.
But also we are a family, and if we all come back at once, we could end up eating each other's lunch, and that's not going to help anybody. So I would expect that a few of the bigger, stronger shows will come back first, lead the way, because they'll be able to take it. I'd imagine that Disney will be first out of the box to come back, and they will lead the way, and they will say, come on in, guys, the water's fine, and others will follow after that.
As it would be with Disney. That doesn't surprise me.
And as it should be. Of course.
When theater returns in person, do you think there may be a new digital aspect to the art form that wasn't there prior in some capacity, whether it's a digital realm that is there with the in-person art form, or do you think we'll sort of see the end of a digital art form once theater returns in person?
No, this streaming is not going away. It's a thing. And I knew it was a thing in 2015 when I live streamed Daddy Longlegs I was the first producer to actually live stream a show, and which is now available on Broadway HD. And we surveyed the audience, and we knew it entertained them. They enjoyed it. They loved it. They wanted more of it. They said they would pay for it. It's just been very hard to get everyone to agree that this is a good thing and how to figure out how compensation works, et cetera.
Right.
We now know it's a thing, and it's not going to go away. It's a new art form, entirely new art form. Someone said to me, actually, I can't take credit for this, that after the flu epidemic of 1918, it's no coincidence that Hollywood was born in the years that followed. Mm-hmm. And in the same way that epidemic birthed that art form, this one is birthing the consuming live entertainment at home. Yeah. So it will not replace what we do, but it will supplement it. It will be another form of revenue, hopefully, another form of marketing.
Yes.
So it's going to be here to stay.
Well, and I think the perfect example of that is, because I've heard this a lot from people, is that, Hamilton just released them on Disney Plus in July. And a lot of people have said, now obviously Hamilton has a notoriety worldwide, but for instance, people who have seen that, cannot wait to get back to the theater to see Hamilton. I think that these shows, if they stream, I think that will just provide more excitement for a person who maybe doesn't live in the New York area to come and see the show or to go see it on tour. Do you feel that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We saw this with Daddy Longlegs. I surveyed the audience. They said were more inclined to buy a ticket now. We had several of them buy a ticket. We tracked it. And I always use the analogy from my youth of when I was a kid and a baseball player and saw the Boston Red Sox play at Fenway Park on television. I remember thinking, wow, I want to be in one of those seats. I want to see the Green Monster. I want to watch batting practice. I want to smell the Cracker Jack. And I think the same thing applies for the theater.
I love that. I totally agree. And I'm excited to see what comes of the streaming once we return live. What is your advice for future producers, especially in this digital world, who want to create and produce art, but are limited, obviously, with in-person events being on hold?
Well, look, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because you may not be able to do exactly what you want to do, but every single individual, every single theater maker, and we're talking a lot about this at our conference, we have like 3 panels on it, because it's my belief every single theater maker has a theater company on their desk. Your computer, your laptop, your phone, whatever it is now your own theater. And you can do and create and distribute and sell and make money just with that. You just have to figure out what unique story can I tell? What unique piece of content can I provide to the world that they'd find interesting? And for emerging theater makers, this is the best time to do it because you have time and you have the ability to just experiment. Like you're not on a Broadway stage. You're not in front of the New York Times. You're not just throw stuff out there. And unlike the live version, which you have to go people going like, oh, it was great. Yeah, I loved it. And half of them are bullshitting you.
Right.
You're going to know, you're going to get data like that because you're going to see your views go up, your followers go down. You'll be able to see who's coming and talk to them and survey them and all of that. So this is a great time to experiment with lots of different content and you never know what's going to work.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And you have it at your fingertips with all this digital devices and everything. It's great. What do you have coming up next, or what are you working on aside from the TheaterMakers Summit that you can talk about or reveal?
So I've got, it's funny, on March 10th, like 2 days before the shutdown, I looked around in my office and I said, we're going to debut 4 new musicals in the next 18 months all over the country. Isn't that amazing? And then, of course, 2 days, they were all put on ice. So I have these musicals that are ready to go. Harmony, which is a Barry Manilow musical that's going to go to the National Yiddish Theater Folksbiene. Vacation, Broadway Vacation, which is the next installment in the National Lampoon franchise, which I'm more excited about that than ever because it's a love letter to New York. It's about a family of 4 coming to New York City to see a Broadway show. It will be what people start to do again in a year from now. A show called Joy, which is based on the life story of Joy Mangano, who inspired the movie Joy, about what I call the QVC queen, single mom of 2 who invented a miracle mop, rags to riches story. And then the big one, which is Neil Diamond's story, the life and music of Neil Diamond, who sold 140 million albums and 10 top number 1 singles. Just a major institution of popular music. And that's like this incredible team. Anthony McCartan, 4-time Academy Award nominee, is writing the book. Michael Mayer is directing. Stephen Hoggett is choreographing. So we're all just waiting. We're doing some Zoom readings. We do some stuff, but we're all just waiting until we can gather together again.
And I'm sure it also makes this time, the projects will be even better because you have this time to work out everything and really expand on the art form, on the writing, on the song. So, I can only imagine that any works produced during this time that before it's debuted live on stage will be incredible because there's been all this time to really get it right. There's only, the other piece of advice I will give to theater makers out there who are looking to make use of this time is there is only so far you can go without gathering, without moving, singing together. There's only so far. So I tell people, take them as far as you can go, then stop, then move on to the next one, then stop. And if you run out, start a new one. Because to your point, this is the best time, the absolute best time to put teams together and start working on new projects. Because all of that early work, private research, the book writer doing something, the songwriter doing something, the lyricist doing something in separate worlds, and then talking about it, this is the best time for that. Best time. Once you get to workshop phase and that, it's hard, right? That's where I am. But I'm starting some new stuff. So this is a great time to start new stuff. So any theater makers, writers out there, today, call a buddy, call a friend, call a collaborator and say, let's start something new. Who's got an idea? I love that. And is that what you would recommend for people if they're trying to find a team for their project, to reach out to do the research or to reach out to friends, or if they don't have, connections, that if they're not successful producers, but they're trying to create a team, would you recommend that they start with people they know, or look
around you? So look at the people around you who are doing the thing you want to do, passionate about what you want to do as well. And if you can't find one, you need to get out there and find more. Yeah. And yes, that's why we're doing the TheaterMakers Summit. I was that lonely person that was like, I want to write musicals. I want to produce plays. I want to do all this stuff. And I can't find anyone else that's like me. All of my college friends they weren't even really friends. They weren't that passionate about it. They were just bored. They watched TV. They didn't want to spend their spare time doing that. You got to find people like you. That's why I do things like the conference, because instantly, everyone in that room wants to be there, has raised their hand saying, I'm dedicating this time, this effort, and investing in myself to be here. So all you have to do is look around you in this virtual room. There will be people like you in it. That's one of the coolest things about doing it virtually as well, is we can do all these virtual networking groups.
Yes.
And just toss everyone in the same. It's going to be fun.
Sounds so exciting. And so in finishing up, how do we change Broadway for the better when it returns, to make it a more fair and equitable workplace for everyone?
Well, it's about asking that question of ourselves every single day, every single hour, every single minute. It's about not making snap decisions based on what you've done before. That's it. We're all predisposed to thoughts, belief, decisions, most of which we don't even know, right? We're just making unconscious choice. I'm going to hire that director because I've always worked with them before. right? I'm going to hire this accountant because I've always worked with them before, even though every year at tax time, you scream about how the accountant is screwing up. Like we do this in all ways of our lives because it's just easier. Yeah. It's time to do the hard work. It's time to not make the easy decisions. It's time for people like me, before we hire people, to stop and say, have I looked at every single possible candidate for this? Where else can I find? Who else can I look at? It's about that. It's about casting. It's about all of it. It's about all of it. It's about you. You want to be like, why should I only let the New York Times into the first night of press? Like, why not let RYE the news guy in? You're like banging away at it every day trying to do stuff. Yeah. Right? So it's that type of thing. It's just like looking at what other ways can we do it, to throw out the old model of this has always been the way it's done, and just think, let's just shake it up. Right now, we don't have anything to lose. So,
and there's really a piece of the pie for everyone. I mean, there's something for everyone, and everyone should really have that chance to be able to. So I'm looking forward to this industry when we get back, because I do know that it's going to be bigger and better than ever, and all the changes I think are necessary and have been a long time coming. And so I am very excited. I think this will be a more fair and equitable theater, I hope, for everyone.
Yeah, and we all share, I think, that hope. There's a lot of that, but that hope for all of us needs to be followed up by every single one of us doing something about it and taking action.
Yeah, I agree. Well, as we finish up here, was there anything that you would like to touch on that I didn't maybe mention? Anything you want to plug or promote?
No, I just, listen, one, thanks for having me. Thanks for grinding away at it and amplifying the conversation about the theater. It depends on people like you.
I'm so happy about it.
It's obvious.
Yes.
Come to the TheaterMakers Summit, everyone. I guarantee it'll be great. If you don't, for some reason, don't get something out of it, let us know. We'll refund you. We don't care. It's not about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll tell you that, it's becoming holiday time, and I have a board game called Be a Broadway Star. So anyone out there that's looking for the best holiday gift, especially now, people are stuck at home and they're playing more board games than ever. Check out beabroadwaystar.com. It's a super fun game that we came up with a couple of years ago that always sells out around Christmas time.
I love that. And lastly, where can we keep up with you on social media, on websites?
I'm on all the things. It really depends on what is your social media handle of choice. If you just Google my name, my blog will pop up. That's really where I recommend.
We'll just do this. He's on Twitter at Ken Davenport, and Instagram at Ken Davenport Bway, and Facebook /Ken Davenport.
Yeah, I'm easy to find, and the place that I tell people to start is either my blog and sign up for that via email, or Instagram is a good one as well.
Exciting. And then this is your theatrical homepage. Wonderful. Well, Ken, I cannot thank you enough for doing this, for taking the time to talk with me. You are, as I mentioned when you first came on, you're so inspirational, and I really am looking forward to the future of theater and having you be one of the many leaders bringing us back, and it's super thrilling.
Well, thank you very much for that. I feel honored just to be a part of the business. So thanks for having me, and good luck.
Thank you. Yes, I will. You as well. And